educate her and us about how we can all do our bit to save the planet. Now, my next guest is a close friend of mine and is best known as Good Morning Britain's resident weather presenter, meteorologist extraordinaire, I should say. Today, Laura Tobin is releasing her first ever book called Everyday Ways to Save Our Planet. But first, let's take a look at her in action.
Laura's got a look at the weather.
I am at Blackpool this morning and I'm really struggling to stand up. The wind is so strong. Literally just riding.
Laura likes to celebrate.
And also, she's the last to wake up this morning. She has overslept.
Oh, sorry. Do you think she thought through the skirt?
No.
Ow! I haven't got anything to do with the guy and the food. I'm not a fish.
We have come to Svalbard to look at the impacts of climate change.
These petals are absolutely...
Matt, can we can save this, right?
You're bothering the locals there.
Laura, a good advert for people in the country saying...
Oh, I remember that.
That's me cackling away at you one morning. Laura, welcome. It's so lovely to see you in. Now, I know, and everybody knows, that you know everything there is to know about climate change and you love to talk about it. Mm-hmm. But for this book, when I opened it up, were there I mean, you've researched even more for this. Were there things that even surprised you about the things that we do that we shouldn't be doing, and how easy those small things might be for us to change?
Everything surprised me. I mean, I love learning, I love science. I loved doing all the work to research the book, and also with my friend Mel, shout out to Mel.
Who you wrote it
who we wrote together,
with,
and she helped to make... Where I say everything's interesting, she made sure that everything was actually interesting into the book. But I was so surprised, but then it kind of became really overwhelmed. And it's just all of those little things you just think all together, you know, if you make those tiny changes, like taking the single-use plastic and swapping that, it's the equivalent of taking however many million cars off the roads. It made me think, oh my goodness, I could be doing so much more. And everybody just says, what can I do and will it make a difference? And I just realised there's loads, and
And there's a couple of really interesting things in it. I know you've got a couple of your main tips for us. What's this thing about bananas? It's like an amazing fact about bananas.
Every day in the UK, we throw away 1.4 million of them.
We throw away 1.4 million
because they're just
bananas.
overripe. Either they're overripe, so you could turn them into banana bread or smoothies. That's what we do at home. But on the supermarket shelves, what most people tend to do is pick the big bunches and leave all the individual bananas. You know, you just take ones off. If you could go to the supermarket and just pick those individual bananas off, you would save millions and millions of bananas every year.
So, but explain why that matters to climate change. Why does it matter if we essentially waste food like that?
Food waste is, and it blew my mind, 4 times more the emissions than all the flying in the world.
No, so say that again, I don't believe it.
So flying is 2.5% of all the world's emissions. Food waste is 10%.
I literally can't believe it.
And 70% of that is from household waste, not just from supermarkets and restaurants. So if you think about it, either a seed is planted or an animal is born, and it has to be fed and watered, and that will use greenhouse gases to produce those things. And then it's reared, and that continues. Then it's either culled or cut, and it's transported in a vehicle that uses greenhouse gas emissions.
Or frozen if
stored
it's
in a
or
warehouse,
whatever it might be.
which uses emissions. It's taken to supermarkets for emissions. You bring it home in your car for emissions. You keep it in your fridge, which needs energy, which has emissions. So before it even gets to your plate, it's used lots of emissions, and so then we throw it away, either because it runs out of date or because we just cook it and then we don't keep it to go in our freezer. We throw away 6 meals a day. We waste £700 a year just on the food that we don't eat. And that's such a simple swap.
And the comparison. So when we talk about climate change, oh, well, why should I give up my holiday? Actually, you're not saying give up your holiday.
No.
You're saying just don't waste your food. And is it essentially buy less? Is one of your key tips, is it? Just buy less.
Use
and therefore,
what you have.
Yeah.
I have been using all of my little tiny toiletries from hotels that you don't really need to collect, using them all up. And now my entire bathroom, now I've used them all up, is completely plastic-free. Shampoo bars. For my body and for my hair, I use bamboo toothbrush, toothpaste tablets. 40% of all of landfill is stuff from our bathrooms that could be recycled. It's so simple.
Oh, my goodness.
I know.
Me. And this is why this book is so important, actually. Because, you know, you talk to your daughter in this, Charlotte. How old is she now?
She's 4.
She's only 4.
Yeah.
But you wrote a really beautiful letter, quite a heartbreaking letter, actually.
Yeah.
Tell us what you said in that letter at the beginning of the book, because this book really is for her and her generation and for us, really, as well, parenting.
So I just wanted to say to her that I'm really sorry. I'm sorry that we've known for such a long time that greenhouse gas emissions are causing pollution that are making our planet overheat. I'm sorry that the glaciers are melting and the polar bears don't have ice anymore. I'm just sorry for all of the things that we're doing that we could easily change. But then there's the letter of, I promise that we'll do everything we can, and I'll do everything I can. And I hope that when she's my age, I'll be able to take her to Svalbard, where I went, and she'll see the things I saw, and that the landscape won't have changed too much.
Yeah, and just to bring that point up about the flying thing, when you went out there, this was to see how far the glaciers had melted and how quickly they're going. There was some criticism, wasn't there, about, oh, well, you took a flight over there. And what's your answer to that? Because I know there's like there's a list of the programmes that create the most emissions, and funnily enough, Blue Planet, David Attenborough, is right up there as that causes the most emissions because they travel the world. What is the justification for that?
It has to be weighed up with the positives and the negatives, and we had a footprint for flying. There was just 3 of us in our tiny team. But we made a tiny negative impact, and our flights were offset for what it's worth. But actually, the positive impact we had on the planet, for all the people who saw it, the millions of people who watched the show, who maybe wouldn't have seen an Arctic documentary, who made changes, was far outweighed it.
And I love being your friend, but you haven't rummaged through my bin yet. But I know that some of your friends have been forensically
I did it in
examined.
makeup yesterday.
Tell me what you've been doing to your poor friends when you go round for dinner.
So I just keep an eye out for what's in people's bins or in their recycling. And so people have food waste bins on the side, but still put food waste in the bins.
Tell me what happened to your friend.
So she peeled off a pack of chicken. She peeled off the lid, cooked the chicken, and then put that whole carton in her recycling. And I just said, is that it? And she said, yeah. I said, no. I said, first of all, that plastic film cannot be recycled. You turn it over and it says it can't be recycled. And then she went to throw that in the bin. I said, no, you can keep the plastic film. All plastic film that can't be recycled at curbside can go to your local co-op. They recycle all flimsy plastic toppings. So there you go. Tip. And the container needed to be clean as well. So then she went to wash it. And I said, no, 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 you're not meant to just wash it, that waste water. At the end of washing up, just give it a little rinse and then pop it back in. And she is now very good.
And you're no longer invited to dinner, is the upsum of that. But that is amazing, all those little things. And this book tells us all of those things.
Yeah, because you'll contaminate the recycling and everyone's good hard work will just then get thrown away. And wish cycling is massive. Do you know about this? So, like, you get to your recycling bin and you think, oh, can I recycle this? And you just put it in the recycling bin and go,
yeah, that's me.
But if you can't, then you've contaminated the load and then everything gets thrown into landfill.
One question that all our viewers will want to know is the weather going to get better?
Better. More sunshine into the weekend, fewer showers, a bit cold, warmer next week, but wet. So just unsettled British weather around here.
Keep a coat.
I'm trying to look for that heat wave, but you know, it's more likely to snow at Easter than Christmas, so Easter's just around the corner.
OK, thanks very much.
Anything can happen.
You mentioned the word sunshine
Anything
somewhere
can happen.
in there. Now, Everyday Ways to Save Our Planet, the book, you've got it there, is out today. Thank you so much, Laura.
And I'm going to go to a shop and I'm going to force someone next to me to buy it and show them that this is me.
Avoid.